Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tsepo Mohapi once more with Life in Perspective. We are wrapping up the year. We've had a 2023. I think we've reached the end of it. There's only 2 days left. So I just wanted to just share something with you as we close the year, as we wind down and wrap up the year, to just also, have a bit of reflection when it comes to how the year has been and how everything else has happened and so forth. So many a times you'll find that we don't actually take the time to sit down and actually reflect and do some form of reconciliation, or a stock take of our lives to see what we had planned for 2023 and how everything had gone, the highlights, the highs and the lows, the good and the bad, the ones that worked and the stuff that didn't work. We don't take the time to evaluate all of that, and most probably take the time to also evaluate the reasons behind why it didn't work. Because normally, when you have a plan as a person, or you have a vision as a person, or you have goals that you've put in place, you need to understand what is it that causes them not to work out, what is it that causes them to fail. And you need to do that analysis for yourself for you to be able to actually build upon that and do better in the coming years. So today, as we close, I want to talk to you about vision and discipline. Vision and discipline. As I've already said many a times, it's important for us to always reflect on what has happened historically, whether it's stuff that has happened in the past, things that have happened concerning what you had planned, how it did not work or how it worked. You don't only learn from failures, but you also learn from successes. The successes that you have in your life, they show you your strong points. They show you areas where you are strong, and you need to harness those and be able to do better, to appropriate them much better into your planning and into your activities in terms of you meeting your goals and milestones. And that is important because in as much as you can learn weaknesses and shortfalls and areas of improvement, when it comes to failures, you can also learn a lot when it comes to successes, because they also teach you what you are good at. They also teach you what you need to focus on and cultivate so you can do better in the future. So it's important. So let me talk to you a little bit. Now, after one has done that, to obviously sit down, you have 2 days to go before the year ends. I would suggest that you take some time to just sit down and reflect on the year. Write down, if you already had written down the stuff that you wanted to do for 2023, you go through that again and check what is it that worked and what is it that didn't work. You are able to plan further into 2024, and you are able to do better in 2024 when you are able to reflect and look back into how certain things worked and how certain things didn't work in 2023. Therefore, you are able to plan 2024 much better. So let's talk a little bit about vision. What is a vision? A vision comes, from not necessarily comes from that, but vision also represents an element of visualization. An element of visualization, or how you create an image as a person. You create an image of an outcome that you want to get. You visualize the image of an outcome that you want to get. And this becomes important because many a times we do not actually write those things down and actually make sure that they are documented, so we can always remember what is it that we want to achieve in life. And you find a lot of people that their visions change one year after the other, and there's never one solid thing that they're chasing for their lives to say, this is what I want to achieve in life, and everything that I do, I will have to make sure that it fosters the direction I need to take to getting to where I want to get to. And this becomes important because what it means is that if as a person you do not have a vision that you write down, a vision that covers your life holistically where you want to achieve, you might find that you have a total vision for your life that you split in smaller visions that you want to achieve based on the years. So for an example, you might have a 10-15 year vision. 10-15 year vision that you will split into maybe 12-month periods or 1 year periods, where you're saying in the first year, this is what I want to achieve. In the second year, this is what I achieve. In the third year, this is what I want to achieve. And you want to make sure that you achieve everything you have put or you have decided to achieve or you have placed into your plan, because that is what will ultimately, these are like building blocks that are leading you towards the ultimate goal that you want to achieve. And it's important that those things, you achieve them as planned. Now, it's important for us to then understand that a vision, the importance of a vision is that a vision allows you as a person to live a narrow life. What do I mean by that? A narrow life basically means you don't chase everything there is there. You don't chase everything that everyone else is chasing. You don't chase everything that everyone gets excited about, but you chase the things that foster and support your vision. So your life becomes narrow, because the things that you develop an interest towards, the things that you go after, are things that are encouraging, and they're things that are helping you to reach your vision. Vision also allows you to simplify your choices and your decisions. It allows you to simplify your choices and your decisions. Many a times when you have a vision that you have put up there, that is there in your face every day, that you look at all the time, it's always a constant reminder of what is it that you need to do for you to be able to do what you want to get to where you want to get to. And it's important that you have that constant reminder, because it's human nature for us to forget. It's natural for us to forget, and some things will fall through the cracks, especially when our focus shifts from those things. We will also lose focus, and we'll most probably forget about them, and time will pass while we are absent-minded about those things. And that's why we need to always make sure when we have a vision, we write it down. Your vision, when it simplifies your choices and it simplifies your decisions, it will also ultimately simplify your life. Your life will become simpler. There are certain choices and things that you will not even have the desire or the appetite to get involved in them, because they are not aligned to what you want to achieve in life. And this becomes important. But there's also an element that is very critical where vision is concerned, which is what I want to touch on, and it's called discipline. The importance of discipline. Discipline is the ability to remain consistent in doing specific activities. You have basically that level of focus that you apply to doing that thing until it is completed. You consistently do the same things over and over again until you get to the milestones, or until you get to the goal, the thing that you want to achieve. But what is good about discipline as well is that while you are doing those things consistently, it's the same as training yourself. It's the same as training yourself, because the benefit of being disciplined is that discipline also creates some element of training. You train your senses, you train yourself, you tame certain desires that are not right, that are distracting you, that are putting you off the path that you need to stay in. When you discipline yourself, you are actually putting yourself in a space where you can train yourself to be a lot more resilient in areas that allow you to be successful. So your success rate becomes higher when you are disciplined as a person. Now, why is discipline so important? It's because discipline is produced by an action plan. So yes, you might have a vision as a person, which is what a lot of people do. You'll find that many a times people talk about resolution, especially around this time of the year. They talk about resolutions, what their resolutions are for the following year. It is good to have resolutions, but we also need to understand that the resolution, though it may be a firm decision, which is the definition of a resolution, it's a determination. It's a resolute. It's something that you decide, that you make a firm decision on, that this is what I'm going to do. But many a times you'll find people that go into resolutions, they fall into the trap of not planning what they have resolved. You can resolve and make decisions about a lot of things, but if you do not plan, if you do not put a plan in place in terms of how you are going to get to that resolution, how you are going to execute that resolution, many a times you will find yourself in a space where you then shortfall in terms of being able to achieve what you want to achieve. So in as much as a resolution is important, yes, a lot of people come up with the resolutions and it's good, but unfortunately you'll find some of them in the second, the third, or the fourth month, those resolutions have fallen through the cracks. They've even forgotten about them. You'll find a lot of people will take the year starts and they want to go to gym to say, this year I want to live healthy, I want to do this, I want to do that. They'll go and subscribe in gym. The gym will only see them for 1 month, and after that it's gone. And what is the cause of all of that? Yes, it is good for you to realize that when you are determined, you can push yourself to do something, but a month is not good enough at times to push on things. You need to push a bit longer. So what is it that you need to develop for you to be able to do that? You need to develop develop discipline. But discipline doesn't just come. Discipline comes from a plan. You need to put an action plan in place because that will cause you to be disciplined. So why is an action plan important? Why is it an action plan important? And why does it produce discipline? Okay, there are several reasons why it does that. Now, because an action plan is a list of steps in achieving a goal. So there is a list of steps that you will need to follow for you to achieve a particular goal. Secondly, it is a breakdown. It's a breakdown of the goal into small actionable steps. Small actionable steps. So it is a goal, but you take that goal, you break it down into small actions that are actionable. What do I mean by actionable? They must be realistic. They must be realistic. Now, it's important for those to be realistic. But the last two elements I want to touch on are the most critical. Is that the action plan must be trackable. You must be able to track progress, and you must also be able to measure progress. Not only are you supposed to track progress, but you must also be able to measure progress. Very, very important for you to measure so that you can tell when you are not making progress and quickly evaluate and realign yourself to what you need to do so that you don't lose time, because you can measure whether you are making progress or not. When you cannot measure something, when you cannot track progress of something, many a times you will find that you take long before you realize that it's not working and you've lost a lot of time. So this becomes important for us to understand. Now, one can say, okay, so what is it that I need to do to then come up with an action plan? Once I have a vision, and that vision is a series of goals that I want to achieve. And then I will do an action plan per goal that I want to achieve, because I can't do an action plan for a vision. It's too large. I will need to break it down into goals, and those goals I need to then put them and design an action plan for each of those goals. And it's important. And now, what is it that you need to do for you to be able to do that action plan properly? First, you need to clearly define what the goal is. That's number one. Define the goal, and then break down that goal into small steps. Break it down into small steps that you need to, a step-by-step way on how you are going to get to that goal. And then thirdly, you need to determine what resources you need. You need to determine what resources you need, whether it's material resources like money or other things, and human resources as well. Whether you need people, maybe in you achieving that goal, you will need certain people to help you. Whatever it is that you need to determine what is it that you need as a person. What resources do you require? And on top of that, which is number 4, you need to make sure that you put timelines in place so that you are able to track and measure if there is progress or not. Put timelines in place. Any action plan that does not have timelines, many a times people do not achieve what they want to achieve, because timelines are very important in helping you to determine whether certain things are doable or not. And it can allow you to realign yourself, to recollect yourself, and readjust your plan if you need to. Because if you put a plan in place, it does not mean that is the final thing. It can evolve over time. There are certain things that can change, but you change them in line with what you want to achieve, because you might find that certain actions are not as actionable as you want it to be, or some of them are not as realistic and as doable, and you are only realizing when you are trying to do it that this is not as actionable or as doable or as realistic as I had hoped it would be. Then you will need to obviously make some quick adjustments for you to still make sure you keep to the timelines. It's more like project management. You take your goal as a project that you are managing, and you need to be able to manage those elements for you to get to the outcome of the project, which is achieving the goal. And that is very important. And the last part is execution. A lot of times you'll find people that can plan and decide, this is what I want to do, this is how I want to do it, this is when I want to do it. But many a times you'll find that the action becomes the problem. Whether you want to go and study, you'll find that when that person needs to register to start studying, the execution becomes a problem. So the execution becomes a serious challenge for a lot of people when it comes to this. But what is important is make sure that your action plan is done so well, it will begin to create an element of discipline, because once you start, you have very specific items to follow and to execute on a day-to-day basis, on a week-to-week basis, on a month-to-month basis, that there is absolutely no reason for. And more than half the time, when it's that clear and that plain, and it's not confusing and it's not complicated, it motivates you as a person to actually even do more. And you might find that even the timeline that you've put in place, you tend to do these things in a shorter time than the time that you had originally planned, simply because it has been put in place and it is working on your behalf. Now, this is important. What will an action plan help you to do as a person? And I've already highlighted this, that there are a lot of other things that as a person, an action plan will help you to do. It will narrow your life. It will allow you to be able to choose certain things much better. It will allow you to even choose your associations, because you can automatically tell if someone is not aligned to your plan. You can tell when that plan is in place. You can tell that person is not aligning. And it also chooses the type of material you consume. Your library is influenced by the type of stuff that you want to achieve. And an action plan helps you, because an action plan might actually force you to write certain recommendations of some of the things you want to achieve. And this becomes very important, because it will help you. It will also help you to know how to use your time. You are going to use your time very well as a person when you have an action plan. It will also allow you to allocate your energies in the right place, so that you don't waste your time putting energies in things that are not of value. You are not going to waste your time. You will even choose your priorities well. You will even choose your hobbies well. Why? Because you have an action plan in place. So as the year is winding down, as we are winding down the year, and as we're finishing off 2023, I would like to share this with you and advise you to say, sit down, do a stock take, evaluate where you are coming from and where you are, the things that worked, that didn't work, your lowlights, your highlights, your the good and the bad, and the things you had hoped you would achieve and you didn't achieve them. Have an understanding of why did some of them not work out, so that when you build a plan, it's not something completely new, but it's something that is a build up from what you already have been planning, and you are gearing yourself up to achieving a lot more than what you achieved in 2023. Put a plan in place and you are going to do well for yourself. I want to wish you all well for the festive season. I want to wish you all well for the coming new year. All the best, and may everything that you desire to achieve, may you achieve it. But you will not achieve it by wishing. You will achieve it by putting a plan in place and resourcing that plan and executing that plan to the T. That's how you are going to achieve everything you want to achieve in your life. Thank you so much, and be blessed for the rest of the season. I will see you in 2024. Thank you so much.